They say marriage shows you who a person truly is. I used to laugh when I heard that, because I thought I already knew her. Emily was everything I'd ever wanted, the kind of woman who made life look easy. We met in college. She was a psychology major, the girl everyone noticed, but somehow made you feel like you were the only one in the room. I fell fast, and for 10 years, I believe we were happy. We had a nice house in the suburbs of Portland, 2 golden retrievers, Friday movie nights, and those little arguments that always ended with laughter and a kiss. It felt real. It was real. Or so I thought. But there's something funny about perfect. It hides things. It makes you blind to what's right in front of you. It started small. Her phone always face down on the table. Late night texts, she said, were work emergencies. I brushed it off. Everyone gets busy. Everyone has stress. Then she started wearing makeup to bed, perfume to run errands. I'd ask questions and she'd just smile and say, "You're overthinking it, babe." The kind of line that makes you feel stupid for even asking. One night, I picked up her phone while she was in the shower. Locked, new password. That was the first time in 10 years she'd ever changed it. My stomach dropped. I told myself, don't be paranoid. You love her, she loves you. But love doesn't erase that voice in your head, the one that whispers, something's wrong. 2 days later, I found a hotel receipt in her car. 2 nights, 1 room, paid in cash. The guest name was E. Davis, her maiden name. I confronted her. She laughed it off, said she booked it for a coworker, and used her old name because of some billing confusion. Her words made sense, but her eyes didn't. They looked like a stranger's. That night, I lay awake beside her, staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathe, wondering how many lies could fit in one heartbeat. The next morning, I watched her leave for work. Same car, same routine. But as soon as she turned the corner, I followed. I wasn't proud of it. I felt sick even doing it, but I needed to know. She didn't go to her office. She drove across town, parked behind a small hotel I'd never seen before. I waited. 10 minutes later, a man walked out to meet her, tall, confident. She hugged him like she'd been waiting her whole life for that moment. My heart didn't break all at once. It cracked quietly. I drove home before she saw me, sat in my car for an hour, watching the light fade through the windshield. When she came home that night, she kissed me like nothing had happened. I looked at her, the same woman I'd built a life with. And for the first time, I didn't recognize her face. I didn't know it yet, but that was the night everything started to fall apart. The night love began to turn into something darker, something that would almost kill me. I can still remember the smell of that dinner. Rosemary chicken, my favorite. She said she wanted to make it up to me. I didn't ask what she meant. I was just tired of fighting ghosts I couldn't prove existed. The candles were lit, music low, the kind of night that should have felt romantic, but it didn't. She kept watching me, smiling too much, laughing at things that weren't funny. I tried to ignore it. I poured us both wine. She handed me my plate, chicken, mashed potatoes, a glass of red. I took one bite, then another, and by the third, something felt off. My throat burned. My stomach twisted so hard it knocked the air out of me. I pushed my chair back, gasping. The room spun. The world went white. I remember her voice, soft but shaking. "Oh my God, are you okay?" Then, nothing. When I woke up, the first thing I saw was light. Sterile white light above me, machines beeping beside the bed. A doctor stood over me, clipboard in hand. "You're lucky," he said. "Another 10 minutes, you wouldn't be here." I blinked, confused. He flipped a page and added quietly, "We found traces of ethylene glycol in your system." I stared. "What's that?" "Antifreeze," he said. My mind froze. I didn't drink. I didn't take drugs. I hadn't even left the house. The only thing I'd eaten was her food. Emily came rushing in a few hours later. Eyes red, mascara smeared. She looked like the perfect picture of a heartbroken wife. She hugged me so tightly it hurt. "Oh my God, baby, I thought I lost you," she whispered. I could feel her heart pounding against my chest. I wanted to believe it was fear, but it felt more like guilt. The police came by to take a report. Routine questions. Emily told them she thought someone might have broken in. Said maybe it was a burglary gone wrong. I listened quietly, watching her face. She didn't look scared. She looked rehearsed. When we got home, everything was spotless, too spotless. She said she'd clean to keep busy, but even the glass I'd been drinking from was gone. I checked the trash, nothing. Checked the dishwasher, empty. Every trace of that night had vanished. That's when something inside me shifted. I stopped being her husband. I started being her shadow. While she slept, I searched the kitchen, behind the flour, under the sink, and there it was, a half-empty bottle of antifreeze. My hand shook as I held it. I could have taken it straight to the police, but something told me to wait, to understand why. That night, I set up a small camera, hidden between two books above the counter. I didn't tell anyone, not even my brother, who'd been checking in after the hospital. I just waited. 3 days passed. Everything was normal again. She cooked, she laughed, she kissed me goodnight. I almost convinced myself I'd imagined it, until the fourth night. I came home late from work. She didn't know I was back early. I opened the app on my phone, the one connected to the hidden camera, and I watched her. She stood in the kitchen, mixing something into a glass of wine, stirring slowly, carefully. Then she checked her phone, smiling at whatever she read. A knock at the door. A man walked in. She ran to him, arms around his neck, lips on his mouth. I couldn't breathe, couldn't move. I watched as she handed him the glass. My glass. They talked. He nodded. She leaned in, whispered something. Then she said it out loud, clear enough for the camera mic to catch it. He won't be around much longer. My chest tightened. My ears rang. In that moment, every doubt, every denial, gone. It wasn't just betrayal. It was a plan. My wife was trying to kill me. I watched until the video ended. Then I sat there in the dark, staring at my reflection in the phone screen. A man who just realized the person he loved most wanted him dead. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just whispered to myself, not yet. Because now I had proof, and I wasn't done. The next morning, I looked at her and saw someone else entirely. She smiled like always, kissed me goodbye before I went to work. But all I could see was that video playing in my head, her hands stirring the poison, her lips on another man. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. Instead, I smiled back, played along. Because sometimes revenge needs silence. I spent that entire day pretending. At work, I acted normal. I answered calls, sent emails, nodded through meetings. But in between every conversation, I was planning. That night, when she fell asleep, I downloaded every second of the video. I made 3 copies, one on my laptop, one on a USB drive, and one uploaded to a private cloud folder. Then I placed the USB inside my car, taped behind the dashboard, just in case. The next day, she suggested we take a short trip. Just the 2 of us, she said. Her tone was soft, too soft. I asked where. Upstate, that cabin near the lake you love. My heart sank. That cabin was remote. No cell signal, no neighbors for miles. Perfect for a weekend getaway. Perfect for an accident. Sounds great, I said. Her eyes lit up. She had no idea I was already steps ahead. Over the next few days, I collected small details. Her texts, her late-night calls. I didn't confront her. I wanted her to believe she was winning. Then, one night, I caught the name Derek in one of her messages. I searched her phone while she was in the shower. Found a contact saved as D. No last name, no photo. But plenty of messages, things like, he's buying it, soon it'll be over. We just need one clean weekend. My blood went cold. Derek. That's who she was meeting. The man in the video. I didn't delete anything. I didn't even close the app. I just took screenshots, every single message, and sent them to myself. Then I started preparing for the trip. She packed light, too light. Just one bag, mostly his and hers wine glasses, candles, a new bottle of red. I made sure to add one more thing, a hidden tracker inside her purse. I told her it was a key finder. She laughed, kissed me, said I was too careful. If only she knew. The drive to the cabin took 3 hours. We talked about old times, about how we needed a reset. Her hand rested on mine the whole time. It almost felt real, but underneath, I could see the tension in her eyes, like she was counting the minutes. When we arrived, she lit the fireplace, poured me a drink. I pretended to sip it. While she turned away, I poured it into a plant behind the couch. She didn't notice. "To us," she said. I smiled. "To new beginnings." We sat down, music playing, rain tapping against the windows. For a while, she looked at peace. But then, I saw it, her eyes flicking toward her phone, checking for a message that never came. She was waiting for Derek. I slipped out to get more firewood. In reality, I hid my car half a mile down the road. When I came back, there was another car parked behind the cabin. His. I moved quietly along the side of the house. Through the window, I saw them. Derek had his arm around her. She was whispering, laughing, like a teenager in love. Then I heard it. "He drank it?" "Yeah," she said. "Should be any minute now." My stomach turned. She looked toward the couch, where I should have been lying, but I wasn't. I stepped inside quietly, through the back door. She froze when she saw me. The color drained from her face. Derek stood up, startled, half reaching for something in his jacket. I didn't yell. I didn't move. I just looked at her and said, "You really thought you'd get away with it?" She stammered. I don't know what you're talking about." I took out my phone, hit play, the video, her in the kitchen, mixing the drink, saying those words, "He won't be around much longer." The sound filled the room. She went pale. Derek cursed under his breath. "This isn't what it looks like," she whispered. I almost laughed. "Really? Because it looks like my wife tried to murder me. Twice." I could see fear ripple through her. Real fear now. "What are you going to do?" she asked softly. I stared at her for a long time. Then I said, "You'll see." And I walked out into the storm. The rain didn't stop that night. It poured down like the sky was trying to wash away everything that had happened. I drove until the road turned to mud and my hands stopped shaking. I didn't go home. I didn't go to the police. Not yet. I went somewhere they'd never think to look. My brother's cabin, deep in the woods, where I used to hunt every winter. I spent the first night replaying everything. The poison, the video, the look on her face when she realized I knew. I wanted to hate her. I wanted to feel rage. But all I felt was emptiness. She'd taken everything. Love, trust, peace. All that was left was the need for justice. Not legal justice. Not a courtroom and a few years in prison. Real justice. The kind that makes people feel what they've done. So, I started planning. Over the next week, I kept my distance, but I watched. The tracker in her purse still worked. I could see every move she made. She and Derek stayed quiet for a few days. Then they started meeting again. I knew they were nervous. My disappearance wasn't part of their plan. One night, I watched as they sat in his car for over an hour outside our house. She was crying. He was yelling. Eventually, she got out, slammed the door, and went inside. That's when I started phase 1. I called our insurance agent. "I'd like to change the beneficiary on my policy," I said. "Oh, to whom?" "My brother." Simple, clean. And just like that, her golden ticket disappeared. Then I called my lawyer. "I need to update my will," I said. "Everything goes to my brother, effective immediately." He didn't ask why, he just did it. Then I waited 2 more days. I sent Emily a text. "We need to talk. Meet me at the lake house tomorrow, alone." She didn't reply, but she read it. I could see it on the tracker. The next morning, she left the house early. I was already there, watching from a distance. She walked in, slowly, looking around. I'd made sure the place looked exactly like the night we left. 2 glasses on the counter, her favorite blanket on the couch, the scent of her perfume still lingering. I stepped out from the shadows. She gasped. "You're alive." "Surprised?" I said quietly. You thought I'd be floating in the lake by now?" She looked down, her voice trembling. "You don't understand. He made me..." I cut her off. Don't lie to me again." I held up my phone. On the screen, messages between her and Derek, her exact words, "Once he's gone, we can finally be together." Her face broke. "I didn't mean it. she whispered. I stepped closer. You meant every word. She started to cry, big desperate tears. Please. I was scared. He said if I didn't do it, I didn't believe her. I'd seen too much. But I let her talk. Every lie she told became another piece of evidence. I recorded everything. Then I said, You want to make it right? You will. You're going to call him. She froze. What? You're going to call Derek. Tell him to come here. Tell him it's over. Tell him you need to talk. He won't come if... He'll come, I said, because he thinks he's untouchable. She hesitated. Then, slowly, she picked up the phone. I hit record again. The call was short. Hey, can you come to the cabin? We need to talk, she said. Pause. Yeah, it's important. Please. She hung up. He's coming, she whispered. Good, I said. Then I stepped outside and waited. I could see his headlights cutting through the rain from the road. My heart pounded, but not from fear, from focus. I'd already called the police an hour earlier, told them an anonymous tip about a man wanted for attempted murder was heading to a cabin near the lake. When Derek arrived, he parked beside her car and ran inside. I followed silently from the trees. Inside, I could hear their voices. He knows, she said. We're done. Derek cursed. What do you mean done? You said he was dead. He's not. He's alive. He knows everything. Then we finish it tonight, Derek said. That was my cue. I walked in slowly, the door creaking behind me. You really should have stayed gone, Derek. He turned, eyes wide. You think you're smart, huh? He spat. No, I said quietly. Just patient. Then, sirens. Red and blue lights flashing through the rain. Derek panicked, ran for the back door, straight into two officers. He struggled, cursed, but they took him down fast. Emily just stood there, frozen. One of the cops looked at me. You the one who called? I nodded. Yeah. I just wanted the truth to come out. Emily reached for me, crying. Please, I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw nothing left. Neither did I said, and I walked out, letting the police lights fade behind me. The cabin was silent after they took her away. Just the wind, the rain, and the sound of my own breathing. I sat on the front steps for a long time, watching the red and blue lights disappear through the trees. I should have felt relief. I should have felt something, but all I felt was empty. They arrested Derek for attempted murder, conspiracy, and possession of illegal substances. He'd been wanted in 3 other states. I found that out later. Emily was taken in for questioning. She denied everything, of course. Said Derek forced her. Said she was just scared. But the video spoke louder than she ever could. Her lawyer called me 2 days later. She's asking if you'll come see her, he said. I almost laughed, but then I thought, maybe I needed to hear it. Closure, I told myself. One last conversation before I buried this whole nightmare for good. The county jail was small, gray, and colder than I expected. She sat behind a glass window, hands folded, hair a mess. When she saw me, her eyes filled with tears. I didn't mean to hurt you, she whispered. Then why did you try to kill me? I said. She looked away. I didn't think you'd find out. That made me laugh, bitter, broken. That's your excuse? You didn't think I'd find out? He said it would be easy, she murmured. He said you'd be asleep, that you wouldn't feel anything. I just wanted to start over. Start over? I leaned closer to the glass. With a murderer? She cried harder. I thought I loved him. I don't even know who I am anymore. Yeah, I said quietly. Neither do I. The guard tapped the window. Time's up. As I stood to leave, she pressed her palm against the glass. Please, she said, don't hate me. I stared at her hand for a long moment. Then I said, you made sure I didn't have to. And I walked away. After that, everything slowed down. The investigation dragged on for months. I was questioned again and again about the poisoning, the camera, the call. They ruled me a victim of attempted homicide. Emily took a plea deal, 8 years. Derek, 15. I sold the house, couldn't stay there. Every corner whispered her name. I moved into a small apartment downtown, close to my brother, started therapy, tried to sleep through the nights again, but something about peace felt unnatural. I'd catch myself checking locks twice, watching shadows move across the wall, hearing footsteps that weren't there. The nightmares came back too. Always the same. Me sitting at that dinner table, taking the bite, watching her smile as everything fades. One night, about a year later, I got a letter. No return address. Just my name, written in her handwriting. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper. It said, "I think about you every day. You didn't deserve any of it, but I need you to know Derek wasn't the one who started it. Someone else was helping him." I froze. Someone else? My mind raced. Another name? Another player? She'd signed it, Emily. No explanation, no details. Just that. I took it to the police the next day. They looked into it, but there was nothing. No fingerprints except hers. The prison confirmed she'd written it, but refused to say more. Weeks passed. I tried to forget, but I couldn't. Then, one night, I came home to find my front door slightly open. I froze. Every instinct screamed at me to run. But I stepped inside slowly, heart pounding. Everything looked normal. Couch, lights, kitchen. Except for one thing. A wine glass on the table. My wine glass, filled halfway. I hadn't poured it. I hadn't even opened a bottle in months. And next to it, a folded note. "To new beginnings." My throat tightened. The same words she'd said before she poisoned me. I looked around, every nerve on fire. Nothing. No one. I picked up the glass, smelled it. Wine, just wine. But the note, that handwriting, wasn't hers. It was his. Derek's. My vision blurred. Derek was still in prison. Or so I thought. I checked the news the next day. He'd escaped during a transfer 2 weeks earlier. My stomach dropped. He knew where I lived. And he wasn't done. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat by the window, the note beside me, the glass of wine untouched. Outside, the city lights flickered, soft and indifferent, like they didn't care that my world was collapsing again. I kept hearing his voice in my head. Derek. He won't be around much longer. The sound of it made my skin crawl. I'd already survived once. I wasn't about to let history repeat itself. So I waited. Days turned to weeks. Every night, I checked the locks, the windows, the hallway camera. Every sound made my heart jolt. The police said they were doing everything they could, but I knew better. Derek had vanished before. He could do it again. Then, one evening, just as the sun dipped behind the skyline, I got a call from an unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. A voice, calm and low, said, "You think you won, huh?" My chest tightened. "Derek." He laughed softly. "Smart man, you took everything from me. My freedom, my life. Now it's your turn." "You did that to yourself?" I said. "No," he said. "We both did what we had to. The only difference is, you got lucky." The line went dead. I stood there, phone in hand, trying to steady my breathing. Then I heard it. A creak. From the hallway. I turned slowly. The door cracked open. I reached for the drawer, pulled out the gun I'd bought after the trial. My therapist said it was a sign of trauma. Maybe she was right. I moved quietly toward the sound, step by step, my heart pounding so loud it drowned out everything else. The living room was empty, the kitchen dark. Then I saw it, the window, open, curtains moving with the wind. Someone had been here. I checked every corner, every shadow. Nothing. But on the counter, another note. This one said, she wasn't innocent either. My hands shook. I called the police, told them he'd been inside. They came, took statements, dusted for prints. But there was nothing. No signs of forced entry, no prints, just the note. 2 nights later, my phone buzzed again. A message this time, from a number I didn't recognize. It said, "Meet me at the old lake house. You deserve the truth." No name, but I knew who it was. Derek. And for some reason, I went. Maybe I wanted to end it. Maybe I needed to. The road was the same, long, empty, lined with dead trees and memories. The cabin stood exactly as I remembered, the broken porch light, the warped door. I stepped inside slowly, gun in hand. The air was thick, heavy with dust and silence. Then I heard footsteps behind me. "Took you long enough," a voice said. Derek stepped out of the shadows. He looked older, thinner, eyes full of something darker than hate. "You're a hard man to kill," he said. "You should have stopped trying," I said. He laughed. "You still don't get it, do you?" I raised the gun slightly. "Get what?" "I didn't plan it," he said. "Not at first. She did." My stomach twisted. "You're lying." "She came to me," he said. "Said she wanted out. Said you were controlling, cold. She wanted money, a new life." I stared at him, shaking my head. "You expect me to believe that?" "Believe what you want," he said, stepping closer. "But you weren't her first, and you wouldn't have been her last." He smiled, a cruel, hollow smile. "You two deserved each other." Something in me snapped. I fired. The sound tore through the cabin like thunder. Derek fell backward, hitting the floor hard. He gasped once, then went still. I stood there, shaking, the gun trembling in my hand. For a long time, I just stared at him. Then I called 911, told them everything. The police came. They found the letters, the threats, the footage from my security cameras. They ruled it self-defense. Case closed. But closure? That's another story. Weeks later, I visited Emily's grave. She'd died in prison. Heart failure, they said. I stood there, looking down at her name carved in stone. I wanted to ask her if it was true, if she really started it. But the wind was the only thing that answered. I placed the final note, Derek's note, on her grave. "You got what you wanted," I whispered. "We're both gone now, one way or another." Then I turned and walked away, feeling the weight of everything, the lies, the love, the loss, finally start to fade. As I reached the car, my phone buzzed. A text, unknown number. It said, "You think it's over?" I stared at it for a long time, then threw the phone into the lake. For the first time in years, I smiled, because even if it wasn't over, I was finally free.